Up until now, we've been using the material part of the bar over here on the side menu to set our materials and things like that. With Cycles Render, there's a much easier way to do this. It's much more versatile, and you'll like it a lot better once you get used to it. Right here I have the default scene, except I've deleted the cube, and I've added a Suzanne, and then I've added underneath her a plane, and I've changed my lamp to a sun lamp, and I've just angled it over so it's coming from Suzanne's front left top. And I've added a base diffuse. You know, if you just hit add material, new material, your diffuse basic material. So now we want to go in and start putting some material on Suzanne. If we hover over these three lines and we left click and drag over, we'll end up with two menus here, or two windows, 3D windows. Basically duplicated the first one. So let's go ahead and click over here and change this from a 3D view, and let's change this to a node editor. You'll have this gray bar here with nothing there, so we can just hit N and that'll get rid of that and free up some space. Now down here in this node editor, what we have to do is we can either click over here on new, or we can click down here on new material, and we end up with these nodes. So we have two nodes to begin with. This is like over here we get a basic diffuse. We end up with two nodes. One is a material output, and the other one is diffuse node. One thing you want to keep in mind is usually, not always, but when you hook these are called sockets, output sockets, and the ones on the left are called input sockets. Ones on the right are output sockets, and then the ones on the left of the box are the input sockets. So basically what we're telling it is this is a diffuse node. We just want you to go in here and put that on the surface. That's our material. So usually want to go same color to same color. So we're going from a green to a green. And so over here is a yellow, a gray, and a blue. So we want to, usually you'd plug a yellow one in here, a gray one, and a blue. Not always, but that's kind of a good general rule to think of. All right, so let's go ahead and maybe want to make Suzanne a plastic looking. Let's go ahead and go into rendered mode and look at Suzanne. Here we can angle her around here a little bit. You can see a little bit better. Remember, shift, pull down. You want to pan and then middle button. All right, so now we just have the diffuse. She just matches the floor here. Now, if you remember before, how we did a plastic material was we actually did a mix shader, a diffuse, and a glossy, and we gave it a little bit more diffuse, a good bit more diffuse, and just a little bit of glossy. Give it a shiny look. Let's go ahead and do Shift A, which is add, like we would add a mesh on the other side, but these will add more nodes for you. So let's get onto our shader node, and let's add a mix shader. Okay, so now we end up with this mix shader here. Let's drag this down until our line turns orange. See how our connecting line turns orange? Let's go ahead and then we left click. So let's go ahead and add another one. Shift A. We want to go shader, and this time we want to do glossy. All right, so now what we want to do is click over this green line here, and then with left click, and holding down your left mouse button, you can pull out this connecting wire. Let's plug that in, and you'll notice it's orange when it's nothing in it, and then once you get near it, it snaps in. So then you let go. All right, so now we have a mix between diffuse and glossy. But just as we are over here on this window, we have a factor of 0.5. Right here we have a factor of 0.52. Now we can increase this, and if we go to 1, it takes up the bottom node, and if we go to 0, it does the top node for us. So remember, if you go about a 0.1, we found that that's kind of a plastic material. You can also still look over here in your preview window and see what that'll look like. Let's change it to monkey. You can change it to a flat, a ball, square, a cube, monkey, hair, and then a world view. So this is basically our plastic looks. We're only rendering out 10 here, but we can go into this and we can start changing this color here. We can make that a red if we want. whatever we want to do here. And it's the same as using this side as using, and if you click over the node, if you left click, it'll highlight orange. That means you can start moving it around and stuff. So this is just a simpler way to do this. And we'll get into some more complicated things here in a minute that this is good for.